because in 1973 was the founding of the Heritage Foundation. Why was it started in 1973? Because that was the passage of Roe versus Wade. So they said at that moment, we are in trouble because women will have the right to make the decision out of their own bodies. They were an underground organization until 1976. In 1976, white evangelical churches began to finance the Heritage Foundation, in case you've lost your point in history, because 1976 is when Jimmy Carter was elected. And they had never seen that many black people in Georgia go to the polls, and they thought it was a threat that black people in the South began to believe that change was in the air. 1976, when Jimmy Carter was elected from Plains, Georgia, the Heritage Foundation began to do their own activism for how it is that they could subvert the plan of progressive politics. So in 1979, they assisted the Republican Party to do negotiations. History will record it openly that the hostages will not be released while Jimmy Carter was still president, because they did not want that feather in his hat. And as a consequence, the hostages were not released until the day Ronald Wilson Reagan was inaugurated. Ronald Reagan was inaugurated at 11:17. The hostages were released at 12:30. They were so willing to risk American lives that they would let them stay in bondage for a political agenda. In 1980, when it is that Ronald Wilson Reagan was sworn into office, ladies and gentlemen, 80%, Madam Mayor, of all of the legislation that Ronald Reagan passed, 80% of it was written by the Heritage Foundation. So what it is that we are up against in Project 2025 is not a newfound phenomenon.